Alright, family, brace yourselves, because what dropped in the last 48 hours might be the single most savage revenge move a female rapper has ever pulled on a professional athlete, and Cardi B did it barefoot, sun-drunk, and wrapped in nothing but a Dominican flag while the entire internet watched her set fire to Stefon Diggs' whole legacy in 45 seconds flat. No album rollout. No press tour. No warning shot. Just Cardi B, standing on wet sand, ocean crashing behind her like a war drum, and a verse so venomous it cracked timelines from the Bronx to Minneapolis. Word just landed that this wasn't a song. This was a burial. And by the time the snippet passed 2 million views in under an hour, the whole internet had already done what the internet does best. It stitched the blood trail together and pointed the arrow straight at Stefon Diggs' chest. Because that one bar, "A baby can't trap me, I won't keep him ever," wasn't a punchline. It wasn't for the haters. It wasn't for the ghostwriters. It was a signed, sealed, hand-delivered execution note for the NFL star who thought a ring emoji in a bio and a black-and-white baby photo was going to erase every text, every hotel receipt, every whispered promise he ever broke. Insiders are screaming that this wasn't a diss. This was retribution served scalding, from a woman who carried his child, swallowed her pride, blocked the noise for 9 long months, and finally decided she was done being anybody's soft landing. Cardi B didn't fire warning shots. Cardi B walked into a beach in her mother's country and detonated the whole compound. But hold on, because the bar that broke the timeline isn't even the darkest part. According to a leaked voice note ricocheting across private group chats right now, the lines that come after this snippet in the full song are so surgical, so specific, so viciously informed, that industry insiders are already whispering they could end Stefon Diggs' career and reputation in a single stream. You think you're ready for what's coming? Trust me, you are not. Stay locked in, because this story is only going to get darker, and the next 5 minutes are going to redraw the map of what a woman does with a broken heart in 2026. Let's rewind, because a bomb this big doesn't detonate out of thin air. This was years of tension, months of humiliation, weeks of private betrayal, and one pregnancy that Cardi B thought was going to be the beginning of her fairy tale reset. It wasn't. It was the setup. It was the trap she almost walked into with a smile on her face. And the person who said it, according to nearly every insider now talking, was Stefon Diggs himself. Rewind to early 2025. Cardi B had just filed to divorce Offset after another one of those cheating scandals the internet had already gotten exhausted of talking about. She was raw, tired, but still radiant, still Cardi. Then came the sightings. Cardi B on the arm of Stefon Diggs at courtside games. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs matching in cream linen at Miami dinners. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs on a private jet that looked more like a music video set than a real vacation. The internet baptized it Cardi's NFL glow up, and for a minute, it actually looked like she'd finally won the emotional lottery. Fans were making edits. Blogs were writing love letters. Even the toughest hip-hop columnists were tapping the sign that said, "Let her be happy." But behind those luxury clips, sources with direct access to Cardi's inner circle say things were moving at a speed that terrified everyone around her. Best friends allegedly begged her to slow down. Her stylist reportedly told her the man was moving too fast, too polished, too rehearsed. By late spring 2025, Cardi B was pregnant, and she truly believed, that this baby would be the one that finally corrected every wrong turn she'd made in love. Insiders say Stefon Diggs was ecstatic in the beginning. Allegedly, Stefon Diggs told her this baby would lock her in, lock her down, and give him access to the Cardi brand power he had been circling for years. That word, access, is going to matter later. Remember it. Underline it in red pen in your head. November 2025. Cardi B gave birth to a baby boy. The internet threw digital confetti. Stefon Diggs posted the obligatory tiny hands photo. The caption? Legacy. One word. All lowercase. Instantly viral. Everything looked perfect. Everything looked like the beginning of something historic, the rapper and the receiver, the queen of the Bronx and the star of the field, blending two universes that had never really shared oxygen before. But it wasn't perfect. It was already dying. And the people closest to her knew. Leaked screenshots currently being passed around private hip-hop group chats paint a picture that turns the stomach. According to those messages, just weeks after the birth, Stefon Diggs allegedly started pulling away. Sources claim Stefon Diggs was caught entertaining multiple women on the road, including one Instagram model who allegedly bragged in a private circle that she had taken Cardi's slot. She used that exact phrase, according to two people who saw the screenshots. Slot. Like Cardi B was ever a vacancy that could be filled. One insider claims Cardi B found out while she was still recovering from a difficult C-section. Read that again slowly. She found out while her body was still healing from bringing his child into the world. She found out while she couldn't sit up without help. She found out while she was learning her son's face. But here's what nobody expected. Cardi B didn't explode. She didn't go live. She didn't subtweet. She didn't call in the receipts. Cardi B went silent. Deadly silent. The kind of silent that only women who have already made up their minds go. The kind of silent that isn't peace, it's paperwork. She unfollowed Stefon Diggs in February 2026, right after Super Bowl weekend. She hopped on a podcast in April and casually called herself unattached, with ice in her voice. She wore no ring at Coachella. She stopped tagging his jersey number. She stopped smiling in press photos in that specific way she used to. Fans suspected. The blog suspected. Nobody had receipts. Until July 28, 2026. Until the day Cardi B decided the silence was over. That afternoon, while most of us were doom-scrolling like it was a Tuesday, Cardi B was standing on a beach in the Dominican Republic, her mother's homeland, her ancestral ground, wrapped in nothing but the DR flag, hair still salt-heavy from the water, eyes locked into the camera with a stillness that felt terminal. And then she opened her mouth. The verse hit like a body dropping. Hold on to my big, say I'm holding my wrist, I'm like, ah bro, you wish. Can't trap me. No, I won't keep him. Ever. The waves kept crashing. The flag kept flapping. And Stefon Diggs' entire narrative kept collapsing in real time. That word. Ever. That single word ended the negotiation. That word turned a bar into a legal document. That word carried more finality than a signed decree. Fans immediately started ripping through old footage, old Stefon Diggs interviews where he called Cardi B the one, old clips of him hyping her up on live streams, old photos of him grinning behind her at album events. Every single one of those moments now reads like a con man building his story. The betrayal angle hit millions of women right in the chest. Especially single mothers. Especially the ones who had forgiven one too many times. Especially the ones who whispered to their reflections that maybe, just maybe, this baby would fix him too. But this wasn't just heartbreak. According to a close friend of Cardi B's who allegedly leaked context to bloggers, Stefon Diggs told her during the pregnancy that if she kept the baby, she would be taken care of for life. That's the phrase. Taken care of. Life. Say that phrase out loud and feel how transactional it sounds. Feel how it strips a person down. Then, when the NFL season kicked into gear, sources say Stefon Diggs went cold. Calls unanswered. Texts left blue. Voice notes ignored. Cardi B stayed quiet for months. Until that beach. Until that flag. Until that verse. Until that word, ever. The moment she posted the clip with the caption, "Why not?" and a black heart emoji, the internet cracked open. Because insiders know that black heart is not aesthetic. Not for Cardi B. She has been using it since the Offset era as her private symbol of mourning, the funeral emoji for the version of herself that kept forgiving men who never deserved her. Fans dug up 7 separate posts across the last 4 years where that same black heart appeared, and every single one of them was tied to a betrayal she never fully explained until now. This wasn't a mood. It was awake. And just when you thought the beach clip was the whole story, Cardi B jumped on Instagram Live and detonated the second charge. She stared into the lens, unblinking, and said, word for word, "Y'all acting stupid like I don't know what I said. A baby ain't trapping me. I'll take my baby and get the hell on. That's for sure." The internet froze. Chat rooms went completely silent for a beat. This wasn't subliminal warfare anymore. This was a public execution with the receipts folded on the counter. This was a woman looking into a camera and telling the whole world she had already left the room in her head months ago. But this is where the first real twist rips the room open. According to a leaked DM conversation obtained through a verified insider inside Cardi B's camp, Stefon Diggs had allegedly been pressuring her to end the pregnancy once he realized how tangled his own baby mama situation was becoming. The alleged messages have Stefon Diggs writing, in cold black text, that the timing was terrible for my brand right now. Terrible. For his brand. About a human being. About her body. About their child. Cardi B kept the baby. And now she's using that same baby, his baby, as the ultimate proof that no athlete, no ring emoji, no bag on earth was ever going to trap her again. She turned the thing he called a liability into the loudest microphone of her career. The emotional weight of this is crushing. Women across every platform are already calling it the ultimate, "I birthed your child and you still fumbled" moment. The rage, the sorrow, the surgical revenge, it all lives in a single 45-second clip. And what's making it explode further is the timing. Not one word of this was rushed. Not one syllable was reactive. This was cold storage. This was marinated grief. This was the exact opposite of a Twitter meltdown, and that is precisely why it is landing so hard. And the twist keeps twisting. Sources claim that just 48 hours before Cardi B dropped that beach snippet, Stefon Diggs posted a cryptic story with a ring emoji and the caption, "Forever." Many are now saying this was a preemptive strike, a desperate move to control the story he already knew was coming. It didn't work. Within hours of Cardi B posting 3 separate hashtags, "Can't Trap Me," "Diggs is Finished," and "Cardi Said What She Said," were trending worldwide. Threads with thousands of quotes started stringing together every suspicious move Stefon Diggs had made across the last 12 months. Old clips of him ignoring Cardi B at industry events suddenly hit different. Old footage of him leaving early from her birthday dinner suddenly read like an early exit sign. One viral thread from a well-known hip-hop tea page even claimed Stefon Diggs had been using Cardi B's fame to negotiate bigger brand deals while emotionally starving her in private. True or not, the court of the internet already ruled. Atlantic Records was allegedly blindsided. A source from the label leaked that executives were locked in overnight emergency meetings because Cardi B posted the snippet with zero rollout, zero clearance, zero coordination. She hijacked her own album cycle to deliver a message, and the message could not have been clearer. I'm not anybody's baby mama. I'm not anybody's safety net. I'm Cardi B. Marketing plans that had been baking for months were reportedly torched inside 4 hours, and a completely new album strategy is now being built around the "Can't Trap Me" fallout in real time. And then, right when the internet thought the plot had exhausted itself, the second leaked audio surfaced. In it, Cardi B allegedly drops a line in the unreleased full version of the song that explicitly references football season and side chicks in Minnesota. The implications are catastrophic. Every fan who has followed Stefon Diggs' road stops in the last 2 years is now reading old highlight reels like autopsy reports. Stefon Diggs has not commented. His silence is not neutral. His silence is deafening. And that silence is exactly what convinced millions of listeners that every syllable Cardi B spat on that beach was the truth. Life bites, and then it teaches. That's the lesson Stefon Diggs is about to learn on a global stage. And Cardi B is the professor. And there is no dropping this class. The internet did not sleep. Within 12 hours, every major outlet, XXL, The Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, Page 6, Complex, Rolling Stone, was running the same headline. Cardi B annihilates Stefon Diggs on unreleased track. Then the next earthquake landed. A supposed former friend of Stefon Diggs leaked a 3-minute voice note where Cardi B can be heard crying, months earlier, saying Stefon Diggs told her having this baby was the biggest mistake of my career. You could hear the tremor in her voice. You could hear her trying to swallow it. You could hear her trying to keep her breath together. The clip ends with Cardi B saying she was done protecting him. 9 words. Full stop. That was it. That was the receipt that flipped the last neutral corner of the internet. When that voice note leaked, the outrage went volcanic. Female rappers began quote-tweeting in solidarity. Megan Thee Stallion posted a cryptic, "Protect women at all costs," with a black heart, which fans instantly connected to the emoji Cardi B had used. Nicki Minaj stayed suspiciously quiet, a silence fans read as pure amusement at the chaos, given the well-known frost between her camp and Cardi B's for years. Lato weighed in with a fire emoji under the snippet. Ice Spice reposted the verse to her story with no caption. Even Glorilla left a comment that just said, "Not one lie." The women of rap circled the wagons in a way we haven't seen since the biggest coalition moments of the last decade. But the real bombshell came from a call that allegedly got recorded and leaked yesterday. In the audio, Cardi B is heard saying to Stefon Diggs, "You thought this baby was gonna trap me? Nah. This baby freed me. Watch what I do with the pain you gave me." The pain in her voice, tangled with pure venom, produced one of the most emotionally violent moments in recent celebrity history. Millions of fans are already calling this Cardi B's "Lemonade" moment, except she's not doing it through a visual album. She's doing it barefoot, in a bikini, in real time, with the world watching every single frame. And unlike a full visual project, this drip is coming out one grenade at a time, which is why the story refuses to die. Industry insiders say multiple brands connected to Stefon Diggs are already quietly pulling away. One major sneaker deal is reportedly under internal review. A hydration brand paused a scheduled campaign. A wireless carrier reportedly delayed a shoot. The psychological warfare Cardi B is running is next level. By only releasing a snippet, Cardi B has essentially trapped Stefon Diggs in a slow-motion hostage situation. Every morning he wakes up wondering if today is the day the full song drops with lyrics even more damaging than the ones already public. That kind of drip torture has the entire NFL community whispering in group chats they thought were private. Sources say 2 of his own teammates have quietly muted him in a shared thread. Sources say his agent has been reworking talking points for 48 straight hours. And then, the escalation. Multiple sources claim the full song contains a direct reference to a 3-person situation that allegedly went sideways, ending with Stefon Diggs choosing the other woman while Cardi B was still pregnant. That bar reportedly exists. That bar reportedly names dates. And if that bar reportedly drops uncensored, Stefon Diggs' image is not surviving the weekend. This drama is no longer confined to gossip pages. Sports analysts are being forced to address it live on air. NFL players are quietly liking shady tweets. The bridge between hip-hop and football has never been this radioactive. What Cardi B built with one flag, one beach, and one bar is now a full-blown cross-industry event. But even that isn't the biggest reveal, because according to a report scheduled to drop tomorrow, there is allegedly video evidence of Stefon Diggs entering a hotel with another woman just days after Cardi B gave birth. And here's the terrifying part, sources say Cardi B has seen it. Not 1 week ago. Not last month. Months ago. She has been sitting on it. That is why the black heart. That is why the beach. That is why the verse. Cardi B isn't clapping back. Cardi B is closing the chapter with a flamethrower and burning the paperwork on the way out. The divide in the audience is brutal. Team Cardi is calling her the mother of rebirth, cutting the beach clip to empowering scores, flooding the comments with confessions from women who saw themselves in every syllable. The phrase, "a baby ain't trapping me," is trending as a full-blown feminist rally cry. Tattoo shops in the Bronx are already fielding requests for the phrase in cursive. 2 hair salons in Atlanta reportedly held viewing parties for the Instagram Live. On the other side, the loudest Stefon Diggs defenders, mostly male sports accounts, are calling Cardi B bitter and accusing her of using the baby for content. The misogyny in those replies has only made the pro-Cardi side more ferocious. Every attempt to bury her is fertilizing her. Celebrity reactions have been wild. Lizzo posted, "Some men earn every bar," and then deleted it inside 4 minutes. SZA reposted the snippet to her story with the caption, "Sisters." Doja Cat quote-tweeted with a raised fist emoji. Offset, yes, Offset, allegedly liked a tweet praising Cardi B for finally getting her revenge arc, and the internet lost every last bolt in its brain. Even some NFL wives and girlfriends have been caught liking shady posts. The women of the league are quietly picking sides, and it is not looking good for Stefon Diggs. One anonymous account claiming to be an active player's fiancé reportedly wrote, "This is why we keep our own bag." Major publications are splitting on the framing. XXL called it one of the most personal disses in female rap history. The New York Post ran the headline, "Cardi B destroys baby daddy in brutal new snippet." Vibe framed it as, the moment the rap game reclaimed its emotional teeth. But the most damning reaction came from inside Atlantic Records itself. A source claims the label begged Cardi B not to drop the snippet because they feared legal action from Stefon Diggs' team. Her alleged reply: "Let him sue. I'll see him in court with the truth." That confidence has the industry rattled. That confidence has legal analysts pulling out old NDAs, subpoena rules, and defamation thresholds. That confidence has publicists whispering that Cardi B has a locked folder somewhere that nobody has ever been allowed to open. Radio programmers are reportedly refusing to spin the snippet until the full track drops, because they don't want to be caught in the crossfire of what's coming next. 2 major morning shows in New York reportedly killed a segment about it at the last minute. The psychological impact on Stefon Diggs is reportedly severe. Insiders claim he's been unusually quiet in the locker room and has been dodging teammates who are known to be tight with Cardi B's circle. This isn't rap gossip anymore. This is a cultural inflection point. This is a woman refusing to be reduced to somebody's baby mama after giving him everything, and the public is devouring every second of it. This is a moment that is going to be studied in album rollout classes, in gender studies syllabi, and in publicist crisis case files for the next 10 years. But the reactions are about to get infinitely more chaotic, because the newest leak, the one that dropped less than 12 hours ago, suggests this entire revenge sequence was choreographed for months. And one major celebrity allegedly helped Cardi B build the whole plan. And when you hear who that celebrity is, you might have to pause the video and pace around your kitchen for a minute. Now hold your breath, because this is the part nobody saw coming. According to a verified insider with direct access to Cardi B's inner circle, the person who allegedly helped her sharpen the most surgical lines in "Can't Trap Me" was none other than her ex, Offset. Yes. You read that right. The same man Cardi B dragged for years in public allegedly reached out after hearing how Stefon Diggs had been treating her postpartum, and reportedly said the words, "Let me help you cook him." That is the alleged quote. Cook him. If that turns out to be true, we are watching the most diabolical alliance in modern hip-hop history, the ex helping the current get destroyed. That is the kind of plot twist screenwriters get fired for pitching because it's too much. The internet cannot handle that. And yet, that isn't even the final grenade. The last revelation, dropped by that same insider less than 12 hours ago, is that Cardi B is not just releasing the full song this weekend. Cardi B is shooting the music video in the exact same beach location where Stefon Diggs allegedly took another woman on a private vacation while Cardi B was pregnant. Read that sentence twice. She is going to film her revenge on the very ground his alleged crime was committed on. That level of cold is textbook. That level of storytelling is beyond any diss track we have ever witnessed. That level of orchestration is why every publicist in the country is now studying the Cardi B playbook like it's a national security document. And according to that same insider, the music video is going to be riddled with hidden visuals, Easter eggs only Stefon Diggs will fully decode. One of them allegedly includes a tiny baby onesie with the words, "Not trapped," embroidered in blood-red thread, tossed onto the sand as the camera pans. Another allegedly features a burnt-out ring on a rock. Another shows a bouquet of purple orchids, the exact flowers Stefon Diggs reportedly sent Cardi B on their first anniversary, being carried out to sea by a wave. This is not a diss track anymore. This is performance art built out of pure pain, calculated rage, and receipts collected in silence. The chaos is nowhere near over. Insiders say Stefon Diggs is preparing some kind of response, a song, a sit-down interview, a social post, a strategic PR appearance with a rival celebrity, anything to redirect the story, but whatever route he chooses, the timing feels lost. Cardi B has already seized the narrative. Cardi B has already flipped the deepest wound of her recent life into the most powerful piece of art she has ever released. And the world is refreshing every hour waiting for the full version. Servers are being pre-warmed. Playlist teams at every major streaming platform are on standby. The whisper is that the full drop could break single-day streaming records for a female rap release, and nobody is willing to bet against it. Let's talk about the money angle for a second, because behind every scandal is a spreadsheet. Cardi B's back catalog is already spiking on streaming charts, with some of her older tracks jumping into the top 100 simply because listeners are hunting for context on her mindset. Merch stores tied to her brand are reportedly seeing traffic surges of over 300% overnight. Meanwhile, Stefon Diggs' jersey sales in select markets are reportedly slipping, and one third-party memorabilia platform allegedly saw returns of signed items in the last 24 hours. That is what pain-to-power conversion looks like in real time. Cardi B is not just winning the narrative. Cardi B is winning the ledger. Let's talk about the child for a second, because the child is at the center of every ripple in this story, even when nobody says his name. Cardi B has fiercely protected that baby's face from cameras since day one. She has kept his image scrubbed from every timeline. Sources say she made an internal rule, no photos, no names, no exposure, the second she realized Stefon Diggs was not going to hold up his end of the deal. And in that protective posture, Cardi B has quietly built something Stefon Diggs never anticipated. She has built a fortress around her son that the internet respects. And that fortress is exactly what makes the beach verse hit harder. Cardi B never used the baby as a prop. Cardi B used her own body, her own voice, her own flag. That distinction is why the world is standing behind her right now. Let's talk about the Dominican Republic setting for a second, because that choice was not decoration. Cardi B's mother is Dominican. Cardi B has spent years reconnecting with her Dominican roots on camera. The beach she chose is reportedly a family location, a place tied to her childhood, her grandmother, her cultural identity. By dropping the verse in that specific setting, Cardi B was doing something far bigger than a music tease. Cardi B was reclaiming her identity from a man who allegedly treated her heritage like an aesthetic. That layer alone has Dominican fans across the diaspora crying in the comment sections, calling it a homecoming disguised as a diss track. Every Dominican flag on social media has doubled in prominence since the clip dropped. That is cultural gravity. That is a rap moment turning into a national moment. Let's talk about the timeline for a second, because the timeline is what puts the last nail in the coffin. May 2025, first sightings. June 2025, matching outfits. July 2025, pregnancy rumors. August 2025, private jet photos. November 2025, birth. December 2025, first cracks. January 2026, first cheating rumor. February 2026, unfollow. March 2026, silence. April 2026, unattached interview. May 2026, breakup confirmation. June 2026, Cardi B disappears from press. July 28, 2026, the verse. Every dot connects. Every gap closes. Every rumor from the last 12 months snaps into a clean straight line the moment you place it beside the lyrics. But here's the last question, the one nobody in the industry can answer yet. What else does Cardi B actually know? Because the way Cardi B is moving, this calm, this precise, this surgical, suggests she is still holding receipts she hasn't even played yet. And if those receipts ever see daylight, Stefon Diggs might not just lose a season. He might lose the story of his entire career. He might lose the neighborhood he grew up in. He might lose the friendship of the very people he thought would ride for him no matter what. Because when a woman with a global microphone finally opens her folder, entire industries move around her. Some analysts are already predicting that Cardi B will follow the full song with a documentary component, a behind-the-scenes visual that walks fans through the last 9 months of her private storm. Others are predicting she will simply drop the song, drop the video, drop the mic, and vanish for 6 months to enjoy her freedom. Both moves are on the table. Both moves would extend her cultural reign. And both moves would keep Stefon Diggs in the emotional prison of not knowing when the next shoe is going to fall. The last thing worth pointing out is that Cardi B did all of this without a co-sign, without a feature, without a big budget rollout, and without permission from her label. Cardi B did this with a phone, a flag, a beach, and a beat. That is the kind of low-cost detonation that changes the way the industry thinks about power. That is the kind of moment that reminds every young female artist watching that the loudest weapon in music is still the truth. That is the reason every publicist in the country is now studying the Cardi B playbook like it's a national security document, and every artist tied to a bad relationship is now quietly checking their own vault of unreleased verses. This story is still unfolding, still leaking, still detonating in real time. The full song has not even dropped yet. And when it does, do not be surprised if the internet buckles. Do not be surprised if streaming platforms crash. Do not be surprised if morning shows get preempted. Do not be surprised if Cardi B walks into a beach in Punta Cana one weekend and rewrites the entire economy of the rap industry the next. If your jaw is currently on the floor, hit that like button so hard Cardi B can feel it from the doctor. Drop your verdict below and don't sugarcoat it. Do you think Can't Trap Me is 100% aimed at Stefon Diggs? Was that the coldest bar of 2026, or does Stefon Diggs still have a shot at a comeback verse? Do you believe Offset really helped write it, or is that leak too neat to be true? Do you think Cardi B is going to name Stefon Diggs on the full track, or keep it just vague enough to dodge every legal net? Be honest, Team Cardi or Team Diggs? I'm reading every single comment. If you're new around here, tap subscribe and slap that bell, because we are tracking this story like predators. The next video drops the second the next leak hits, and trust me on this, more is coming. This is only the opening move of Cardi B's rebirth era. And Stefon Diggs? Stefon Diggs might have just become the biggest casualty in the modern history of female rap. Stefon Diggs might have to sit through an entire NFL season with this song playing in every stadium he steps into. Stefon Diggs might have to explain this to his son one day. Stefon Diggs might have to live inside the echo of a verse recorded on a beach he can never visit again without flinching. Cardi B, meanwhile, is already floating. Cardi B has already given herself permission to be a woman first and a brand second. Cardi B has already turned the worst chapter of the last 2 years into the most electric artistic pivot of her career. Cardi B has already reminded every listener that the mother in her is not weaker than the rapper in her, the mother is exactly what sharpened the rapper. That is the real story here. That is the layer nobody is talking about yet. That is why Can't Trap Me is going to age like a documentary about a decade, not a snippet about a season. What do you think happens the moment the full song finally drops? Do you think Stefon Diggs responds, hides, releases his own single, brings a new woman to a game to distract the timeline, or vanishes into a very carefully worded statement written by a legal team? Drop the take. I'll be in the replies. That's the download for now, and I'll catch you the second the next chapter cracks open, because this story is nowhere near done, and something tells me Cardi B has been saving the loudest bar for last. Let's talk about the sound design for a second, because even that layer is being pulled apart by producers online. The instrumental behind Cardi B on the beach is being described as a slow, demo-tinged pulse laced with a haunting choir sample buried 3 layers deep in the mix. Producers who dissected the audio waveform on live streams last night claimed they can hear a faint sample of a Dominican bachata chord looped underneath the main drum pattern, which would tie the entire track back to her heritage in a way most listeners are not consciously registering. That subconscious cultural embed is exactly why the snippet feels emotionally heavier than a regular diss beat. Cardi B is not just talking about identity. Cardi B is composing identity into the DNA of the record itself. Let's talk about the visual language of the beach clip for a second, because film scholars have already started analyzing it frame by frame. The Dominican flag draped over Cardi B is barely tied, but never falls, which several fashion critics are calling a symbol of a woman holding her own culture together with nothing but her own will. The wet hair is not styled, which reads as raw, unarmored, unafraid. The ocean behind her is filmed at a specific golden hour angle that photographers are calling vengeance light. Every frame of that snippet was engineered to look like a war painting, and Stefon Diggs is the figure who does not appear in the frame yet dominates every square inch of it. That is cinematic warfare. That is control of the invisible subject. That is what happens when a woman with a global microphone finally decides that silence is over. Let's talk about Stefon Diggs' inner circle for a second, because the cracks in that circle are already visible. 2 members of his known friend group have quietly unfollowed him on social media in the last 36 hours. His longtime stylist reportedly cancelled a scheduled fitting. His personal trainer is said to be dodging phone calls from journalists. Nobody near Stefon Diggs wants to be in a photo with him this week. Nobody near Stefon Diggs wants to comment on the record. Nobody near Stefon Diggs wants their own name pulled into a Cardi B verse. That distance is the truest measure of what this snippet did. When your own team starts putting daylight between you and the story has already ended in your opponent's favor. Let's talk about the fans for a second, because the fans are moving in ways nobody predicted. Fan-made lyric videos of the snippet have already crossed 20 million cumulative views across TikTok. Fan-made animated reenactments of the alleged betrayal are trending on Reels. Fan-made playlists titled Cardi B Rebirth Era are climbing to the top of streaming platform curation feeds. Fan-made merch, unofficial, unlicensed, but selling out anyway, is popping up on independent Etsy stores with variations of the phrase, "Can't trap me," printed across hoodies, mugs, and tote bags. This is what a cultural avalanche looks like. This is what happens when a bar leaves the song and enters the language. Cardi B did not just release a snippet. Cardi B released a phrase that women will be quoting at brunch tables for the next 5 years. Let's talk about the algorithm for a second, because the algorithm is going feral. Every major platform is boosting Cardi B keywords at an unprecedented rate. Stefon Diggs' name has been appearing in trending sidebars in over 60 countries, most of which do not even follow American football. Search engines are logging spikes for phrases like, Cardi B Dominican flag, Can't Trap Me lyrics, and, Stefon Diggs cheating, in volumes that publicists say they have not seen since the biggest breakup stories of the last decade. This is not just a moment. This is a data event. This is the kind of moment that becomes a case study in every marketing MBA program next semester. SSS.